Dear stars, they say in my part of the world, welcome from me, Martin Smith, from a lovely Cornish morning to my YouTube channel. I trust you're well and interested in learning how to prepare a presentation of your spreadsheet. In the last session, we analysed student scores in our first spreadsheet by sorting, filtering and using conditional formatting. Today, we're going to present our findings by creating a graph and printing the final spreadsheet. In the last session, we created this data of student scores on 5 tests and calculated the average for each test using conditional formatting to highlight students requiring additional support. This session, we're going to graph our results and print off the final analysis with titles and footers. If you don't have any data yet, I suggest you review the 2 previous videos, see the card above, or pause the next video to create some data. If you need to pause the video and enter some data, you should do so now. The student names and scores can be anything you can dream up, but note the scores are percentages up to 100%. The average and totals are both formula, so if you're unsure how to do this, I suggest you review the previous sessions.
Here we have the spreadsheet we've been working on the previous 2 lessons. If you haven't got a spreadsheet that is created, I suggest you look at the first and second lesson in this series. We're now on to the presentation phase of our DAPA process. But before we do that, let's have a quick revision. We'll ask you 5 questions and I'd like you to think about the answer before you follow me along. So what is the lowest 2 scores in maths? The easiest way of doing this is to click on the maths column. We could go up here and do sort and filter, or we could do right mouse button, which brings up a context menu. And in here we have sort, and we could sort largest to smallest or smallest to largest. And the 2 or 3 lowest is Tom Jones is lowest, Horatio Nelson and Adele Atkins both have 51, so I guess there's 3 lowest scores. Okay, I'll give you a similar question, but I'm going to put proviso on this one. What is the highest 2 scores in reading, but you're not allowed to use a sort? One way of doing this is to click on the reading filter list. You can filter by number. We can select top 10. We can either select top or bottom. Clearly we want top, and we can change this to 2. We can either do that by using these little down arrows, or we can highlight it and click 2 and we'll hit OK. So it's now filtered out all the other numbers. So you notice our number sequence on the left goes from 1, 3, skips out 4 to 10, 11. So it just gives you 2 records. And the highest 2 in reading is Mo Farah and John Parr. Let me clear those. The next one is, what's the Nelson's average scores in the 3 R's? Always amused me as a child, reading, writing and arithmetic. My teachers couldn't clearly spell, but what is the average score of Nelson in reading, writing and maths? Easiest way of doing this is if we click on Nelson's reading, writing and maths, we'll drag across the left mouse button, and in the bottom it shows us that the average is 58% and the total was 174, which is an irrelevant number, but at least it shows you the average. Now I'll give you a slightly harder one. Dyslexia. The dyslexia affects reading and writing predominantly. Is there any student that we're concerned about with dyslexia? Well, one way of doing this is we can add what we call a helper column, and we can say I want to average the reading and writing scores by students. So we could do auto sum, We'll select average from the drop down menu. Excel is suggesting that I might want to highlight all of those. I don't, I just want reading and writing, so I'll just highlight those two. So it's going to average B2 and C2. Enter that. Now remember, the easiest way of copying these down is to grab hold of that little handle, get a black cross, drag it down, and we could then sort on that if we wanted. So the two lowest ones are Adele and Horatio Nelson. They both got scores in the 50s and 70s. It doesn't look like dyslexia is a problem for any of our students, does it? So that's the use of a helper column to answer a question. We can also use the helper column to answer the next one. So just delete those. So my next question for you is, boys and girls. Is there any difference in scores between boys and girls? Well, we've got no way of actually telling whether the boys are girls other than their name. Excel doesn't understand names. So what we're going to do is we're going to fill this column in. Now, most of our students are male by the looks of it. So we're going to highlight all the rows for students. We're going to put M for male. But before we hit enter, we do Control and enter. Excel will helpfully fill in all those cells for us. And then we can just go and change the females. So Adele is female. Mary Berry is female. Halle Berry is female. And that's it. So now if we sort on this column, sort on this. Remember, there's multiple ways of hitting the sort. Put the three females at the top. They're scoring middle of the road. Boys are scoring the middle of the road. I don't think there's any real difference between males and females. So we can now get rid of our helper column. We just hit delete. So I think we're now ready to create a graph of our data. And we want to show the students' names and their scores, but exclude the totals and averages. Why is that? Because we're trying to show the core data, and putting the totals and averages in will just confuse the issue. So we'll take our cursor and highlight the area we want to work on. So with our white cursor, left mouse button, drag it across that area. And then we're going to go to insert a chart. So insert. Here's the charts grouping. The various charts we can do a 3D bar chart. We can do a 2D stacked bar chart. We can have it vertically columned in 3D. I think we'll keep a simple 2D one, and we'll have it stacked so we can see their cumulative scores. There we go. On our left y-axis, we've got the percentage scores. At the bottom, we've got the names of the students, and then we've got the key, which says reading, writing, maths, etc., and the different colours. So that looks looking good. To start off, I think we need to give the chart a proper title. So if we click on this area, we can see we've got blue handles on each of the corners. We highlight that by left mouse dragging. We can change that to student scores. Looks okay. It's a bit insipid. Let's make it a bit bigger. So we click on there again. We'll highlight it. A contextual menu appears. We can make it bold. We can change it to, say, Times New Roman. That'll do. Does that look any better? Yes, but I think it's still a little bit small. So let's click on it again. We'll highlight it again. There's our contextual menu. So we can choose from there and change the font size, but we can also right click and we'll get another menu up here and we can use font that way. So it doesn't matter which way you do it. You'll get used to do it one way or another. Let's change that to 24. That looks better, doesn't it? Notice also at the top, you've got a chart design ribbon has appeared. You can choose different charts styles. That's the black one, for example. There's a 2D one with a hash on the background. There's a grey one with a percentage. You can have a look at all of these. I want to choose this one. It looks appropriate to me. I quite like that. There's also another menu here. It says quick layout. You can have a look at that. I tend not to use that one, to be honest with you. A very important area is the add chart elements, and you can finally adjust how your chart's looking. We're just doing a quick review at the moment. We'll do a more detailed one at a later date. What I'd like to do is put the legend at the bottom. So we're going to go to legend. There we've got option of putting it on the bottom. We could have put it on the left or right as well, but we're going to put it on the bottom. And let's move it to where we want to see it, which is down here. Now I think we're ready to print our data table and our chart. So if we go on our menu at the top, we've got an option that says page layout. There's no option here that allows you to print preview, but on this arrow box here, we click on this and we get the old style menus that existed before the ribbon was invented. There's an option here that says print preview. That's not what we want because it's included screencast area. Don't want that. Let's go back again. So what we should do is highlight the area we want to print first, which is that area. You can go to print area, set print area. Now what happens when we print preview? That's a lot better. What I would like to do, I think, is put a header on top of this page. So we go back one. There's an option here that says print titles. Go to header and footer, and we're going to go custom header and footer, and we'll put in student grades. And as before, we highlight this, we can change the fonts and everything. We'll have Calibri will do. We'll make it bold. I think we need to make it quite a bit bigger. And let's have a look at, and we could underline that, I think. Oh, there we go. And we could also put a footer. We could go to custom footer, but we can also click on this box here and we'll choose the name of the spreadsheet. So that obviously, if the spreadsheet's got a different name, then it won't appear as my first spreadsheet. But it's useful because you can always refer back to which spreadsheet this particular graph came from. Let's have a look at that print preview. That's looking pretty good. One thing I would like to point out is that letter size is not particularly common. It's probably going to be an A4. There we go. And we could print that.
Hope you've enjoyed and learnt something from this tutorial on preparing your sheet for presentation. If you have, then please support this channel by clicking like. And if you want to see more material like this, then please subscribe. The next video on the foundation course is shown here. Keep in touch and I hope to see you soon.